do plants keep their feet on the ground when in space? Ever since I was a child, every time I look at the stars at night, I was always fascinated by the vastness of the universe. And I was wondering whether one day we, as humans, will leave this planet and go there, settle down somewhere else. However, the more I was thinking about it, the more I was overwhelmed by all sorts of questions. And some of them are really very basic. For example, how to feed astronauts on long journeys. This question is very important because the spaceship transport capabilities are quite restricted. And astronauts will be able to carry only a limited amount of food. Therefore, if we don't want them to eat every day some lyophilized food, we should give them the possibility to produce their own food. For example, to grow their own plants. The contribution of my group on this fantastic challenge is to understand how will plants adapt to alien environments. The focus of my research is on the gravitational force. Why this force? Because this is the force that affects any living or non-living object on this planet. And to make it simple, the gravitational force, or gravity, is the force which causes objects to fall on the ground. And I'm sure you all tested it. So the strength of the gravitational force depends on the planet mass. For example, the moon that has only 1.2% of the Earth mass has about 70% of the Earth gravity, while the planet Mars, that has 10.7% of the Earth mass, has about 62% of its gravity. Whether plants can sense and respond to such differences in gravity, and what will be the impact on their growth are some of the questions that we are interested in. And this is really important because gravity is strongly influencing plant growth here on Earth. And this starts already when the seed is germinating. The root is finding the way down to the ground, guided by the gravity vector. While in normal conditions, the shoot, so the green part, and the root, the underground part, are aligned accordingly to the gravity vector. This is possible because plants, they can really sense and respond to gravity. As you can see here, when the plant is lying on the side, the shoot will quickly develop a negative tropism, meaning away from gravity in the direction of light, while the root will respond positively by growing in the direction of the gravity vector. By this means, the plant will try to realign with the gravity vector. These processes are all governed by a series of genes and proteins. And just altering one single gene is enough to cause the plant to lose its ability to align with the gravity vector. As you can see on the video on the right side, such a plant will no longer be able to go deep into the soil and will not have access to all the nutrients or minerals that are located in this area. And this will be, at a later stage, detrimental for its overall growth. So, as you have seen, given the importance of gravity here on Earth and the total absence of gravity, or all the various gravity fields that we can find here in space, we developed a research program that aimed at, number one, to identify the molecular mechanism that regulates plant response to gravity or on Earth and in space. And number two, to develop means and tools that will allow to select or to optimize plants that will perform well in other planets. So, to fulfill these goals, our strategy is the following. So we are comparing the growth of plants, of normal plants, to that of selected mutants that we already know that are not performing well here on Earth. These plants are grown under the Earth gravity conditions, or In altered gravity, or in total absence of gravity, as provided by parabolic flights, sending rockets, or directly growing them on the International Space Station. Our results already show us that both gravity and microgravity, so this means the absence of gravity, both are impacting on the root structure at a cellular level. Among the tools that we developed to track these modifications, so we developed a root coordinate system that allows to extract individual cell features, such as the cell length, the cell volume, but also to isolate the nuclei of individual cells inside the root and to project them in 3 dimensions. This tool allows us to see which cells are dividing or which cells are elongating in response to gravity or to microgravity. So these processes are controlled by genes and proteins. So therefore, in addition to this structural data, we also collect data on gene expression, proteins, and metabolite modifications. This analysis provided already a lot of very interesting results. For example, we found out that the absence of gravity is activating specific kind of genes. So as you can see here on the left side, there are genes that are very active. So these are those in red, the red dots, and some that are completely repressed are those that are in green. So these genes, they are working as networks. So a gene network, we can see it, to make it simple, as a group of workers in a factory. So they can work in small units, but also collaborate between each other, and by this means, regulate the development of the root. So we combine the data, the molecular data, with the structural data in order to build mathematical models, and these models will help us to test in silico, meaning inside the computer, all the different gravity forces that we can find in space. So, to conclude, what looked like science fiction when I was a child is becoming true, and one can say that tomorrow is really happening now. Thank you for your attention.